Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show podcast, coming to you from right here in our quaint little studio. I am, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined in studio today by Ray Ora.
It's almost time, baby.
Jonathan Voiko's here.
Friday, baby. Oh, it's Tuesday, but hey.
Paris Rose is here.
Hello.
And most importantly, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here, making this little show part of your day. And here's how today's show's going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a bunch of predetermined topics. Then in the second part of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. Now, if you have a live comment, question, thought, opinion, or whatever that you'd like us to address, as long as it's appropriate for us to address on the show, go ahead and use the tip link at www.streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip and send it on in. And here's the good news about this tip link. You can use it 24 hours a day. So if you're somebody who's not watching the show live right now, but you've got a question you'd like us to address on the next show, go ahead and send your question into the tip link. And again, as long as we consider it appropriate to be used on the show, we will address it on the show. And guys, it is now deux in my native French.
Good days.
Good days. Good days until Deadpool and Wolverine is in theaters about 48 hours from now. We're going to be getting ready to go over to the theaters to check it out. I'm sure many of you will as well. And today, of course, we're going to be talking about the first reactions that have come out. And to call them sky high is an understatement. I'll bring this up a little bit later. I watched a lot of people's first reactions coming out of that theater last night at the World Premiere New York. Half of them were almost in tears.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to talk about that, but we got a number of things that we're going to talk about here today. So, Paris, get us started here. What's the first thing we're talking about today?
Yes. So from Variety, Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga are ready to give the people what they want in the new Joker 2 trailer. Joaquin Phoenix's Arthur Fleck is finding himself being considered some sort of a martyr and endured the trial of the century. Throughout the trailer, Fleck deals with apparent stardom, with Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn sharing that with Fleck for once she doesn't feel so alone. The film opens on October 4th. John, what do you think of the new Joker 2 trailer?
I'm torn. To be honest with you, I'm torn. Here's why. Now, granted, remember, this movie is still like 3 months away, right? So we are still going to get a lot more promotion and all that kind of stuff. Here's why I'm torn. On the one hand, some of the stuff in it is awesome. Like him taking the mallet and about to bash the judge's brains in, the whole scene about let's give them what they want, baby, and all that kind of stuff. Like, so there was such a high number of great moments. And you got to understand, I am super excited for this movie. Like I loved the first Joker. I know not everybody did. I did. I loved the first Joker. So I'm really looking forward to this one. Here's the problem, the struggle that I have with this trailer though. I am still very unclear watching these trailers. What parts of this trailer are real? What parts of this trailer are fantasy just in Joker's head? And which parts of this trailer are parts of musical numbers? Like right now, I was talking to a friend of mine this morning, where like, we still don't know how many musical numbers are in it. And that's fine, because if good musical numbers, have as many as you want. But I'd like to get a bit of a sense for it. The biggest thing to me is I don't know when I'm seeing something really cool in the trailer of, okay, is that something that actually happens in the movie? Or is that something that just happens in Arthur's imagination, in his fantasy, or in Harley's fantasy, and which parts are real? And I would like to get a little bit of a sense as to which parts are truly a part of the movie. What events, if I was living in that Gotham, if I was living in that world, what parts of it are actually real and actually happening? And until I get a sense as to which parts of the trailer are just pure fantasy in his imagination and which parts are actually real, I gotta admit it's hard to get too excited about the trailer. It's not hard for me to be excited about the movie. That's already happened. I'm excited for this movie. October 4th can't get here soon enough for me. Cannot wait to see it. But for me, again, well, that looked really cool, but I don't know if that's just something that happens in imagination. And if it happens just in his imagination, then it doesn't really affect the story too much. And I don't know. So I'm a little bit on the fence about the trailer, not about the movie, but just about the trailer. You guys saw the trailer. How did it hit any of you guys?
I mean, I loved it. I have a feeling, just because I watched it a few times, that, to your point, the scenes that seem to be very dark, clearly this is like in his head. They're not performing for an audience.
Is it? Is it clear?
Unless they're
Or does it
unless
actually
the audience
happen?
is under duress.
Right.
But
Yeah.
there are certain scenes where this is really happening.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it's a normal lighting around him.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's scenes where like they come out of the courthouse or they're in the courthouse and it's darkened around him and he's the only one as if he's on a spotlight. And I think those are the scenes that are in his imagination, in his head. So it's a scene, I think they're telling it with the lighting. But that's just a guess. I don't know for sure.
Yeah, because what I don't want to have happen here is another case of sucker punch, where it's like, oh, it turns out the whole movie was just in her imagination and none of it actually meant anything. And
Wasn't there a part where he has the gavel and you hit
yeah, about to
the
hit the judge
Yeah,
over the head.
yeah.
I don't know if that's real.
know,
or
I
not.
feel like in his head.
I feel like,
I hope
again,
that's
that's
real.
I hope it's real
think it's
too.
real.
here's
The
why
lighting?
here's why I don't think it's real. He just sits there and looks at him reach up and then doesn't flinch and then he gets hit. And
But
like,
wow, what an impactful.
And the courtroom there, it's all dark around him and he's got a spotlight on him.
But
Whereas there's other scenes
Yeah,
where
see,
the
if that
courtroom
scene is just
lit.
in his imagination, I'm going to be really disappointed.
it's still an impactful shot. I mean, that's the
If it's
that's
real and not
No
just in
pun
his
intended,
imagination, that's the
impactful
thing.
shot.
How are you guys
I
feeling about Lady Gaga being Harley Quinn?
I'm fine with it.
She's really great. If you watch American Horror Story, of course, A Star Is Born. She's a phenomenal actress, but I've seen a lot of hate that they miss Margot Robbie. They don't think Lady Gaga should have gotten the part. I think she's gonna kill it. And from what we've seen in the trailer, I feel like she fits perfectly in this Joker world.
All right, guys, question is for you. What did you think about the new trailer for Joker Folia 2? A lot of really cool imagery in it, but it's difficult to get excited about the trailer for me when I don't know which parts are actually things happening in the movie and which parts are just happening in his imagination. Whatever you guys thought about it, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to our next topic here, shall we? Paris, what we got up next?
Well, despite having a 77% audience rating, Marvel's The Eternals was the first MCU film to suffer a rotten critic score of just 47%. It made just over $400 million at the box office, which is good for some movies, but very low by Marvel standards. Now, nearly 3 years after its initial release, Kevin Feige says there are currently no plans to bring a sequel to the big screen. So, John, when do you think we'll eventually get an Eternals 2?
I do think that eventually we'll get an Eternals 2, but I'm not sure about that. And even if we do, it's going to be a while. Like, I think we'll see characters from the Eternals pop up in the MCU. I definitely think we're going to have that. But an actual proper Eternals 2, I'm not so sure, because like Paris said, it was the first MCU movie that got a below 50% critic rating. I personally really like the film. It's not a top 10 MCU movie to me, but the more I see it, the more I actually appreciate it. I actually quite like the film. I thought it was very, very unique and very, very different for an MCU film. Again, not a top 10 or anything like that. I certainly think they've put out worse stuff since. But the big killing thing to it is it's barely made over Black Adam. I mean, it made just a hair over $400 million, which a lot of movies would kill to make, but by MCU standards, that's not great. And with them having so many properties and so many characters, especially now with Fantastic Four and Deadpool and all the X-Men characters coming in, I don't know that there's room for an Eternals 2, per se. Now, for those of you wondering, what did Kevin Feige specifically say? This comes to us from Superhero Hype, who wrote the following, quoting Kevin Feige, who said this: "There are no immediate plans for Eternals 2. Now granted, that's not him saying we're never going to do one, but it's kind of the way a producer says we might never do one. He says, there are no immediate plans for Eternals 2. He said, there are, and I think you've seen maybe in a trailer we've released recently, an acknowledgement of some of those events. Certain giant things came out of the ocean." So that pretty much 100% confirms what we all suspected, that the big rock structures coming out of the ocean in that Captain America 4 is in fact Tiamat the Celestial. that Cersei turned into some sort of stone
Mm-hmm.
and that the nations of the world seem to be fighting around. So that's cool to see. So look, again, I think at the end of the day, we are going to see members of the Eternals again. I think we're going to see Cersei again. I think we are going to see the Black Knight at some point. I think we might see one or two of the other characters as well. I think Arsham the Judge and other Celestials may come back into play here. But as far as an Eternals 2, to me, for now, I'm going to take this as don't hold your breath. Yeah.
I mean, I like the Eternals just like you, John. I think the problem with the Eternals for me was they didn't make the characters themselves didn't make an impact. Where like there's certain characters I'll watch a movie, I'll be like, I gotta see them again. I gotta see that. I need to know more about this character, right? And that didn't work for any of the characters for me in the Eternals. I did like the movie. It's just the lasting impact of their on the MCU just didn't do anything for me.
Mm-hmm.
They did for me. I actually really liked the characters a lot.
Yeah,
I enjoyed them a lot. Again, a very different film, which I think Marvel needed. They needed a film that was, while most of their films are unique from each other, they need something that really broke away from the Marvel basic structure.
and that they did.
Yeah, and I think they did that, and I thought that really worked well. But again, not their best film, and certainly not their most successful. Question is for you guys. What do you think about this? Are you surprised that Kevin Feige is basically saying, yeah, we have no plans to do any more, at least immediately, more Eternals? Do you think that's the right move? Do you agree with me that we think we're still going to see some of those characters pop up around the MCU? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, we need to talk about the first reactions that are coming out of Deadpool and Wolverine. But before we do, we're going to take a quick second to thank the sponsor of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends at Miracle Made. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's episode, Miracle Made. Guys, it's hot outside and your nighttime bedroom temperature has a huge impact on your sleep quality. So if you wake up too hot or too cold, I highly recommend you check out Miracle Made's bed sheets. Miracle Made sheets are inspired by NASA and use silver-infused fabrics that are temperature regulating so you can sleep at the perfect temperature all night long. There are just so many things that make these sheets so fantastic. We already mentioned the self-cooling properties for better quality sleep, but they're also self-cleaning. These sheets are infused with silver that prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets. No more gross odors. So go to trymiracle.com/Campea. That's TRYMIRACLE.com/Campea to try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo code Campea at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. So upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/Campea and use the code Campea to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/Campea to treat yourself. Thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode. And thank you to our friends at Miracle Made for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys, with that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Paris, what do we got up next?
Juicy part. So last night, the official world premiere of Deadpool and Wolverine took place in New York, and instantly the first reaction started flooding in. I watched so many reaction videos, and they are insane. Many calling the movie perfect, all of them calling it hilarious and blood-soaked, and seem to be promising the best Marvel movie in years, or maybe even ever. So, John, what is your takeaway from the Deadpool and Wolverine first reactions?
Okay, so first, it needs to be said that there are a reminder to everybody. There are 2 different things that come out once a movie is getting ready to release, right? There's the initial first reactions. That's just the quick social media that the media is allowed to put out, right? And then there's the full review embargo. Now, normally when all you can do is put out like 140 character, quick little thing, you usually focus on the positive and whatever. And we've come accustomed to seeing like first reactions come out that lean a little bit more positive. And then when their full like reviews come out, then they get a little bit more critical. Like we've seen that happens. What does not happen often is when I see a bunch of first reactions and people are literally shaking. And some people are actually you could see they've been recently crying. And what you're not used to seeing is this kind of response. I mean, we're a little bit accustomed to seeing first reactions skew more positive. We're used to that, but not like this. Not like this. Including from some people who I know don't even like Deadpool. And so, ladies and gentlemen, let's look at some of the first reactions coming out of the world premiere that happened last night. Sean Tajapur wrote, Deadpool and Wolverine is a game changer for the MCU, as it is the biggest, boldest, and most badass MCU film since Infinity War and Endgame. Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman are the ultimate duo that we've all been waiting for. All right, by the way, I should mention, the biggest negative I've read out of the 40 or 50 first reactions I've seen, the biggest, most negative comment that I've seen out of anybody is it's not perfect. And I've seen that twice. That's the biggest criticism I've seen about this movie, that it's not perfect. Anyway, I mentioned that because we go into the next one. This one from David Thompson, who wrote, Deadpool and Wolverine is the funniest MCU project ever, and of course, the goriest. I've seen a lot of that. A lot of people talking about how bloody and gory the movie is. Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman together as these icons is incredible. And there it is. It's not perfect, but it's a thrilling theatrical experience and a step in the right direction for Marvel.
I mean, Endgame wasn't perfect either.
I wonder what he would consider perfect, though.
Well, I mean,
it's all
true.
subjective.
It's all subjective.
There is no perfect.
Our friend Eric Davis wrote, let's fucking go. Absolutely loved Deadpool and Wolverine. Yes, the cameos and surprises are epic, and the humor, action, blood-soaked fights, and needle drops are tremendous too. But it's the respect and love for the characters that win you over. This is the ultimate Deadpool movie. We miss a little bit here, but I'm not going to click the show more because then it takes us over to Twitter. Leah Rydell wrote, let's fucking go. Deadpool and Wolverine was a blast. The chemistry between Hugh and Ryan is dynamite. Exquisite action sequences, undeniable comedy, and cameos that enhance the story. I cannot wait to watch it again. Cryptic HD wrote, Deadpool and Wolverine is a bloody fun car trip and an emotional roller coaster. Hugh and Ryan deliver exceptional performances, blending nostalgia, humor, and heart. It dives into the themes of revenge, loss, moral ambiguity, and family, all while being packed with delightful cameos. Brandon Collins wrote, the opening scene, cameos, soundtrack, and unhinged humor makes Deadpool and Wolverine the most fun I've had in a Marvel movie since Spider-Man No Way Home. The overall story could have been better, but who cares when there's lots of blood and a raging Wolverine? Lyra Hale wrote, just watched Deadpool and Wolverine, and it was Marvel's fucking love letter to comics and the characters in it. From start to finish, had an absolute blast. Trust me, go in blind. Don't spoil yourself.
Well, I mean, we're going to know some things.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something to know.
Going blind. I mean,
But then the last line here is something that I've heard resonate amongst a lot of people.
Yeah.
The trailers gave us nothing. That is one of the things I've heard from another number of people who I've spoken to who've seen the movie now. Has gone, oh yeah. You think you saw stuff in the trailers? You saw nothing. Which is kind of right in line with what we were saying the other day, because remember we were talking about, there was that one Spider-Man movie that somebody took.
Right.
They took all the trailers and TV spots, and they figured that in the trailers and TV spots combined, they ended up showing over 30 minutes of footage from the movie and all the ads.
It just didn't stop between all the TV spots, yeah.
But with Deadpool, it feels like 90% of all the trailers and TV spots was from the same 1 minute of footage.
Yeah.
So we've really been getting the sense that they actually haven't been showing us a lot. So I've been getting that from a lot of people that, yeah, trailers show you nothing. You are not prepared, is what I got told. You are not prepared for the stuff you're going to see. Hunter Friesen wrote, Deadpool and Wolverine may be the most Marvel thing Marvel has ever put out, which is a statement you already know how to interpret for yourself. This Marvel Jesus may not be turning water into wine, but he knows how to turn 2 hours into the most fun time of your life. Nicole's Film Perspectives wrote, Deadpool and Wolverine is simply perfect. You will be excited to be a fan again and want to celebrate. Multiple showings required, and I want to experience it all over again. Then we got Mr. By the way, Ann and I have tickets for 2 showings on Thursday. So we're going to go in to, I think, a 2:00 show, come out, take a breath, go in for a 6:00 show, and then I might even get tickets for a midnight show later that night. All right. They go on. Mr. D's Pop Gospel wrote, yes, Deadpool and Wolverine is a 4-star movie. I didn't expect to like it so much. Full review and Like a Prayer will get a huge boost from this, which is not surprising because Madonna was there. Chris Gallardo wrote, it goes without saying that Deadpool and Wolverine absolutely kills it. Ryan and Hugh brought their all into it. The R-rated action is still as gory as ever, and the cameos, when present, felt like they mostly fit well enough with the story. Yup. This is a line that excites me. Yup. Bigger implications are coming.
So
now,
there's your connection.
This is in contradiction to what my guess was, because I've been guessing along the way, and we talked about this last week. I've been guessing along the way that I think the movie's going to be great and all that kind of stuff, but I don't expect it to have a lot of implications to the larger MCU. Right. But then we started hearing some comments, and last week I had to say, maybe I was wrong about that. And from a number of the people that we've heard coming out of Deadpool, it's like, yeah, I was wrong about that. I'm hearing larger implications to the MCU as a whole, which is pretty interesting. All right. Joseph Deckelmeyer writes, Deadpool and Wolverine was perfect for me. No notes. Incredible journey and tribute to the Marvel and Fox universe. This team up was worth the wait, and the cameos weren't wasted. It's one of the best MCU movies to date. I'm glad I avoided the spoilers. I popped for all of the surprises. Deadpool and Wolverine, says the Hollywood Handle, is as exciting as you're expecting it to be. It manages to have the same tone as the previous films with super funny jokes and a story that will have you laughing and crying. Heard from a lot of people saying that they were crying. Hugh Jackman delivers one of his best performances as Wolverine. But we keep going. Luan writes, Deadpool and Wolverine is the best Marvel movie in recent years. It's a thrilling adventure around the multiverse and packed with surprising cameos. Be prepared. Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds are made for each other. The chemistry between the two is superb. Laughed and cried. It's funny because last night I was watching an interview with Ryan, and Ryan was saying, because the person interviewing him, I think it was not Jimmy Kimmel, it was Fallon, was interviewing him, and said like the amount of surprises in it. And like Ryan Reynolds was, honestly, our biggest fear was we would never be able to keep these under wraps. He said, we were convinced we will never be able to do it. We'll never be able to keep it under wraps. And Kevin Feige said, trust me. And so apparently there's a lot of stuff that catches a lot of people by surprise, which is exciting to me. All right. Kenny J writes, Deadpool and Wolverine is one amazing F-bomb, slice and dice, good, nasty multiverse madness. Pushing Disney's limits, could go further in my opinion, while being sassy, poking fun, and owning a good story and flow overall. The duo shined the most, of course, but every single other person's role was memorable. And there are others. There are more. I mean, I went to the Hollywood Reporter as well. They gave a whole bunch of list of ones as well. Like Joey Magnuson wrote, Deadpool and Wolverine is so much fun. Marvel absolutely threw me a curveball by making this a tribute to the Fox superheroes, but it plays super well. Fun, gory, and massively satisfying. A blast that doesn't overstay its welcome. Well done. By the way, that is another big common refrain I heard from a lot of people was, this movie besides being a love letter to comics as a whole, specifically said it's a love letter to the old Fox universe. So, to all those people who were guessing, I think we're going to see James Marsden, I think we're going to see Famke Janssen. Yeah, it sounds like you were probably right. I don't know. But this whole thing about how it's like this big love letter to the old Fox universe, it is certainly exciting.
Were there any bad reviews? I mean, I was watching, scrolling. I didn't see any bad reviews. I know you said you saw it wasn't perfect, but
Yeah, the biggest criticism I saw out of all the stuff I read, all the stuff I saw, and all the people I talked to, not one wasn't thrilled with the movie. And I'm not saying we're positive about the movie. I'm saying not one wasn't thrilled with it. And that includes a couple of buddies of mine who are not so big on Deadpool. I'm not going to say anything at the risk of outing them, but I mean, this is the sort of thing that I think Marvel absolutely needed. And here's some of the things that are standing out to me about it. Okay. So number one, I just mentioned, I love the fact that it's also calling it a bit of a send-off, if you will, a love letter to the old Fox universe. Because the old Fox universe was hit and miss, understandably, but it had some of the greatest comic book movies of all time. And the original 1999 X-Men film is really the thing that started the golden age of comic book movies. And they kind of fizzled out at the end and then just suddenly had the plug pulled on them. So for them and that whole era of these movies to get a proper send-off is exciting to me. So that's number one. The second thing that stands out to me a lot that we're getting in all of these things is the commentary on the gore. I am very excited. Like, and you know me, I'm the guy who says, look, you don't have to have red blood and it's fine to do things PG-13, right? I'm not one of these guys who's like, oh, just make it bloody. I'm not one of those guys. But it does kind of excite me.
I'm a gore girl.
Hearing about a Wolverine going pure rage feral and slicing up fools. And Deadpool, we already saw in some of the trailers, like Deadpool, I counted 3 decapitations just in the trailers of Deadpool. Hearing how much action and how gory and quote unquote blood soaked it is very, very exciting to me. The third thing that stands out to me, and this was the part that I was concerned about. I never doubted that there was going to be great action in Deadpool. I never doubted that there was going to be great humor in Deadpool. Because when you look at the writers and Ryan Reynolds, of course it is. Where I had some apprehension was, could they do what they did in Deadpool 1, which is deliver a truly grounded, emotional, heartfelt story to go along with it? And the third thing here that is standing out to me is it sounds like, from the number of people I heard from that literally said they were in tears and they were crying in the movie. And hearing that the story is very satisfying. Some people saying it's the best story they've ever seen in a comic book movie. Some people saying not the best story we've ever seen in a comic movie, but it's awesome. That is a huge thing to me, because that, as you guys who have been watching me knows, that's been one of my apprehensions going into the film. Can they actually do that? No doubt that they could do action. No doubt that they could do humor. But can they deliver an emotionally satisfying story to go along with it? And I think that last trailer they put out with X-23 kind of answered that question a little bit, but now we're definitely hearing that it absolutely did. So those are the 3 things to me that really stand out from all the, I mean, then I guess the fourth thing is just the overwhelming enthusiasm. Because like I said, I'm going to go, for those of you just joining us in the last few minutes, like I said at the beginning of this, while we have become accustomed in first reactions to see them skew more positive, because, you know, and when you're giving just your first quick thought, you tend to lean positive, and then maybe when the full reviews come out, it gets a little bit more negative. What you don't often see or ever see is this level of pure enthusiasm that I've been seeing from a lot of these folks coming out of it. Now, I still believe this is going to be the biggest R-rated opening film in history. but I still don't believe it's going to be like in the $250 million range. I think it's going to be like 170 to 210, which again will be the biggest R-rated opening box office in history. So I'm thinking right around there for its opening weekend. And I mean, there are some people, I mean, the live chat right now, some people are like saying 270, 245, 275.
Can we get a 280? Can we get
280? Who's got 300? Who's got 300? No, I think it's going to be like that 170 to $210 million range. Again, want everybody to remember this. That would be an all-time record. Never been done before for an R-rated film
I'm gonna lower my
in history.
You
You're
said-
going to lower yours?
You said
Yeah.
160?
I said 170 to 210.
I
Okay.
was saying 250. Now I'm just gonna go with the easy for sure 90 million.
Dang.
Well,
wow,
definitely
that's
not-
Bold, Ray. That's bold.
I think originally I was saying 160.
I mean, I'm not gonna be wrong, right?
You're definitely not. It's definitely going to at least hit that. But I do want us to keep in mind, while the early box office projections, 95% of the time are usually within like $5 million.
What was the projection again?
I think the projection was 165 to 170. Now that was like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But while 95% of the time, those projections are usually like bang on, like right within about $3, $4, or $5 million. In recent weeks, we saw an Inside Out 2 that was projected for $80 million opening weekend, which would have been huge. And it ended up with $150 million plus opening weekend. And just this past weekend, Twisters was projected for a $40 to $45 million opening, which would have been great for a $40 to $45 million. That's double what Furiosa made. That would have been great on its own. It ended up making $82 million in its opening weekend. So 95% of the time projections run, but recently we've been seeing massive overperformance. Could that happen with Deadpool and Wolverine?
I think you're going to get the good experience effect in the movie theater to push Deadpool and Wolverine over. People are going to remember, and it wasn't just kids seeing Inside Out 2. So people are going to remember the good experience of Inside Out 2, the good experience of Twisters, the good experience of whatever, and carry that enthusiasm into the next movie.
See, but that's the thing, right? We've talked about this for years, is that good movies help other movies.
Yep.
When people go and have a great experience, they want to go again. So they went to Inside Out 2, loved it. Well, I want to go back to the movies again. What's coming out soon? Twisters, okay. Then they go to Twisters, like, hey, this was really fun. What's coming out soon? Well, we got this Deadpool and Wolverine. All right, maybe we'll leave Junior at home, or maybe we'll bring Junior along. Time Junior becomes a man.
That's right.
Let's take him to Deadpool and Wolverine and learn about pegging.
Yeah, man.
So that is, but here's the other thing that could come into effect.
Wait, what?
Here's the other effect.
45.
I think there are going to be a lot of people, because I've been going over the movie theater listings. They have been opening up, like every movie theater I've looked at has like doubled the amount of screenings they have this weekend.
Yeah.
Right. So like going more, like adding more and more and more and more and more screenings. I think there's going to be a serious effect of people who go in Friday afternoon to see it, come out, and immediately jump on their app to get like an 11 p.m., a whatever, like whatever seats might still be available, and go right back either the same day or the next day. If
They might
the
even,
movie is even 80% of what these first
They
reactions
might even
are.
grab a friend.
They might even grab, yeah,
Because
get a hold of their friends and say, you got to come.
Let me know. And then they're like, dude, I'm seeing it again. You got to come with me.
Because Ray and I, we've got a brother-in-law who's almost as much of a hermit as Ray is. Like we can't, we got this
ladies.
brother-in-law that we cannot get out of the house. Like we can hardly, sorry, I was so excited to drop it down the wrong
What's
way.
going on, man? Your storytelling.
Tell us about
Towers
tell
are-
us about the
So
brother-in-law.
the brother-in-law, right? We got this brother-in-law who we can hardly ever get out of the house. I am seriously thinking, if this movie is remotely as good as this, we're just going to grab Stan and drag him to the theater. Now
Yeah.
he's 6'10". He's a 6'10" bodybuilder.
Have fun with that.
So grabbing Stan and dragging him may be a little difficult, but whatever. I'll put him in a Kimura or something and make him go. But I mean that's to your point, Jonathan. I think that's going to happen. I think there are going to be people who go to see this thing, and if they come out as psyched as these people are coming out, they're not only going to instantly plan their next showing, they're going to be getting on the phone with whatever friend or relative saying, "You got to come with me." And that could happen. Now you're seeing on Friday, right?
Yeah.
Now,
I'm
who are you
going
seeing it
solo.
with?
I'm going solo.
You're going solo?
She took my advice. She's seeing a morning screening. And how easy was it in the Chinese theater
Super
IMAX
easy.
to get a ticket?
To get a single ticket.
Yeah.
At like 9
Honestly,
a.m.
because my friends aren't as excited and they're going to ruin my energy. I'm going to be so annoyed that they're like sleeping. So I'm just going to see it alone and then.
Parking's going to be easy. No crowds. I mean,
It's
come
like going
on.
to
I'm going to make
Disneyland.
friends in the theater.
It's like going to Disneyland and being a solo rider. Get in the single line.
Solo rider. Yeah, it's going to be
I'm
me.
going at 8 a.m. on a Sunday. You're doing whatever on a Friday. Oh, come on.
I just love the fact that our showings at I believe 6 later on. So there's that buffer in between where we finish the show and go see the movie.
Oh no, I'm seeing it 3.
Oh wait, mine's only says 6. So
Yeah, I'm seeing it 3, and then I'm seeing it at
Oh,
6.
wow.
well, you're seeing the second showing.
oh
with
yeah,
us.
Yeah.
but it doesn't matter to me because that buffer time I'm gonna use to pack up 2 chimichangas.
Oh boy.
One in my right pocket, one in my left pocket. There's no way I'm not seeing this movie without some goodies.
You know, I
Coming in.
gotta say, while I do not endorse morning drinking, because I have a coffee pre-ordered there and donut holes. I think I might grab a little shot of whiskey with me, put it in my pocket, pour it in my coffee. Boom, nice Sunday morning.
Yeah,
I'm not
definitely
endorsing
gotta
that.
get
That's
some
just for me.
Definitely got to get some aviation in us.
Okay, I am whole second. I am putting up a poll on the site here. And I'm going to ask the audience how much they think this movie's going to make on opening weekend. So guys, I just put up a poll for those of you watching live. There is now a poll in there asking how much will Deadpool 3 make opening weekend? I don't think anybody thinks it'll be under $150 million. So it's 150 to 200 million, 200 to 250, 250 to 300, or 300 and above.
So far, I'm a little shocked. I thought for sure it would lean heavier with the 150 to 200, but
All right,
everyone's
so I just
very-
posted we've got a little over 500 votes now already. And 21% are saying 150 to 200. 48% are saying 200 to 250 million dollars. 19% of you are saying 250 to 300 million, and 13%, now 14% of you are saying this thing's going to make over 300
I
million
don't know.
dollars.
We're talking domestic here, guys. Just so you know, not globally.
Yeah, whenever you talk about opening weekend boxes, you're always talking about domestic. 100% always talking about domestic. I think I would be in that 150 to 200 million, but I wouldn't be surprised if it gets to 210. But right now, it looks like the vast majority of people are saying it's going over 200 million. They're
What's
saying
it?
200, 250.
Do we know the budget on this film?
You can look that up easy enough.
Because I'm wondering if Deadpool, Wolverine budget.
What are you wondering?
Well, I'm wondering if 250. So this thing's making its budget back on opening.
Oh, this thing's
weekend.
going to make its budget back on opening day.
This is making its budget plus, okay, but not taking into account the 30% cut of the theaters. But it's going to take.
But worldwide, it'll make its budget
Its
back.
budget and marketing.
Opening weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, like, all I know, guys, is I am so excited about this. I am so stoked for this. I love the reactions that we're hearing coming out of it. And we'll find out if we feel the same way or not. We are only 2 days away, my friends. 2 days away. All right. Question is for you guys. What do you think? Out of all those reactions we've been reading through, what are the elements that are standing out to you the most? I already mentioned the 4 that were standing out to me. What's standing out to you? Do you already have your tickets for opening weekend? How big do you think this thing can be? Is it going to be the biggest movie of the year? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, we're now going to move on to the most important part of our show, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of Deadpool and Wolverine chatter here. We're going to take your live comments and questions here. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Paris, what do we got up first?
All
Taylor
right.
from Kansas.
Taylor from Kansas says, I'll start by saying Twisters was a really fun movie and I had a good time. As a nitpick, there were lots of things in the movie that drove me crazy having grown up in Tornado Alley. For Twisters, please pay a redneck me $500 to consult. Love y'all.
Look, whenever there's a movie about anything, there will always be people go that's not real. That's not real. That's not how that works. And I get it. I totally do. I totally get it. But it's still the movies. Remember, the job of the movie maker is to make the most enjoyable movie possible, not the most accurate movie possible, right? So for that, we've got documentaries. But I could see, look, there are nitpicks I had with it too. I don't think Twisters is going to be in my top 10 favorite movies of the year, but I had a fun time with it. And at the end of the day, that's really what matters. All right, what's next?
Gone with the Cheddar says, hey, John, a couple months ago, I wrote in and mentioned that breakdancing was in the Olympics. You mentioned how you weren't a fan of the idea. As an active member of the breaking community, I think this is going to be huge. Will you be watching any battles?
Of course, I'll definitely be watching. I mean, but I don't think it should be an Olympic event. Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I don't think things that have to be subjectively judged should be Olympic events. Like, hey, put a bunch of guys on a line, say go, first guy to cross the line wins. Hey, put a pole up in the air, the guy who can jump over at the highest, that guy wins. That to me is athletics. I'm not big on things that have to be scored by judges, because then it's up to a subjective opinion. Now, then I have to confront myself, because one of my favorite events at the Summer Olympics is the gymnastics.
I was gonna say.
I love gymnastics. I love watching come on, Simone Biles is gonna whip it up again. I cannot wait to watch it. And that's a judged thing, right? And breakdancing, come on. Breakdancing it's purely subjective in the eyes of the judges, but I don't know. But I'll definitely be watching because I love breakdancing.
I'm a little bitter that it got there before cheerleading, which is also gymnastics and stunts, but it's okay. I'll let it go.
But to your point, isn't gymnastics already cheerleading?
It is. It's
So
minus the
why do you
stunts,
need
minus
another?
the-
Why do you need
Well,
another?
'cause you
category?
Because it's
Stunt part.
choreographed. It's choreographed.
There's
Okay.
choreography. There's actual lifting people in the air. All those
Yeah.
stunts.
I mean, there's
that-
obviously competitions for
Yeah,
it.
I was a competitive cheerleader
Oh, nice.
for 14 years, so I'm like,
Wait a
how-
second. Were you one of those ones? I see these on ESPN every once in a while, where it's like you got like 30 or 40 of them doing these choreographed routines.
Yes.
I gotta say, those do look pretty freaking phenomenal.
Yeah.
Were you like actually one of those doing like?
I tumbled to all the flipping, and then I was a base, which means I was actually the person lifting
Oh my
other
God.
women in the air. I know.
What was the
I feel
movie
like-
on that? Like, wasn't Kirsten
Yeah,
Kirsten
Bring It
Dunst?
On.
Bring it on.
But that
yeah.
made it like very silly. Actual competitive cheerleaders were like,
Yeah, they're probably like, oh god.
I feel like the redneck about Twisters. Like, that's not real.
All right, what's next?
All right, Stoner Watch Production says, hey, John, I heard over the weekend there's boycott for Deadpool and Wolverine brewing. Any truth to that?
Boycott of who?
Why?
Oh, have fun being at home by yourself.
Yeah, like you and your 5 buddies can sit at home and sit on your thumbs. Okay, sounds good. All right, what's next?
There's your answer.
Vincent High says, greetings, John. I'm a leading artist in the commercial printing industry. I worked indirectly for Disney. I would love to have sent you a luxurious print of my Deadpool and Wolverine artwork. Please email me.
Well, thanks. Now, we generally don't accept. We're always so flattered when people write in and asking to send us stuff. We generally don't accept people sending us things, but I certainly appreciate that. And that is a very kind gesture on your part. But generally speaking, we don't accept physical deliveries of things.
But also, thank you for the $100 tip.
What was that? $100
Yeah.
tip?
So now we're
my
gonna
God.
accept.
Well, maybe we'll accept it.
We humbly accept your invitation, sir.
Missed that completely.
Maybe we do have to accept it at this point. All right,
Whatever you want.
I'll come back and revisit this later. All right, what's next? And by the way, thank you for supporting us on that level. That's incredibly generous of you, man. Thank you so much. All right, what's next?
And Keltimus also giving us $20. Thank you so much. Says, I'll entertain the idea of Stark as Doctor Doom, but instead of Tony Stark, it should be Howard Stark, since Fantastic Four takes place in the 60s. Howard could die as both a villain and loving father in Tony's early life, giving Tony new, interesting daddy issues.
Problem is that takes away all the meaning of it. The whole idea of Earth's greatest hero becoming the Earth's greatest threat. And by the way, technically speaking, Fantastic Four does not take place in the 60s. It happens in another reality. So in an era that will look kind of like what our 60s looked like.
Yeah, but we don't know the year.
Yeah, so that's really not. So to me, the whole, and again, I'm like, have Victor Von Doom be Doctor Doom. But if you were going to go that route, and I think there are a lot of casual movie fans, I had this discussion with one of our viewers as who said, John, the audiences want Doctor Doom. I'm like, who the hell do you think the audience is? Because I got news for you. 90% of the movie-going audience has never heard the name Victor Von Doom. They've heard Doctor Doom, but 95% of the people who go to the movies have never heard the name. So no, the audience does not want Victor Von Doom. The hardcore of us, those of us in our little nerd bubbles, we do. So, and I definitely do. But I mean, if you're going to go that route, I think there is a lot of audience members that will find very appealing the idea of another reality's Tony Stark who didn't have that cave experience with Yin Sin that changed his life, and he broke more bad than breaking good and decided to take over his own country at one point. But I think there's something appealing to that, but I think it would need to be Tony Stark, not Howard Stark. But again, I don't think that's what they're going to do anyway. And I definitely would prefer Victor Von Doom, but I'm just saying there's some potential there for some really cool storytelling. All right, what's next?
Ryan G says, hi, John and crew. I hope in House of the Dragon by episode 8, Daemon goes back to Dragonstone. The nightmare fever dreams were fine after 2 episodes. He was there and they are just forced. Also, that scene when the dragon is chasing that guy was so good.
Oh, I mean, look, the last episode, which I believe was episode 6.
6, yeah.
I mean, first of all, when she's bringing the guy down to see if he can be the dragon rider, I was saying in the room, I was saying, this is not going to end well.
I was like, he doesn't look like a main character energy.
But that dragon got he got the assignment.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you want me to have a new writer? Okay. Well, sorry about this guy. I'll go look around. This show just keeps getting better and better to me. I can't wait. But there are some dark things coming.
Oh yeah.
There are some dark things
This
coming.
thing's a Greek tragedy, man.
I don't think we're going to see
But Damon has a very, listen, for anybody who's afraid that Damon's going to be kind of like Thane, Damon has a very important role to play in the upcoming story. How much he'll get through, though, by the end of this season, I'm not really sure.
Yeah,
I think they're
There's
laying
a
the
lot.
Don't say anything, Jonathan.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying there's a lot to get through.
Yes, there is. It won't be this season.
So that's there's got to be more seasons, obviously.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. All right. What's next?
Ryan G says, hi, John and crew. Should I rewatch Logan before Deadpool and Wolverine or not?
I mean,
look, if the answer to whenever you ask me the question,
yeah.
should I watch Logan? The answer, regardless of context, is yes. Yeah. It's one of the greatest movies ever made, but particularly within the comic book genre. I think it's a top 3 greatest comic book film ever made. So whenever you ask me the question, should I watch Logan? Whether it's before Deadpool 6 years ago or tomorrow, the answer is yes. All right, what's next?
Papa Willie says, hi, John. Do you know David Corn Sweat has a new show on Apple TV Plus called Lady in the Lake with Natalie Portman? 2 episodes are out so far and is a really compelling mystery period piece about the disappearance of a little girl. David plays the dad.
Yeah, I saw that on Apple TV Plus.
I had no idea David was in that.
I didn't know he was in it. I just saw like the banner for it.
But it's the same thing. I went into Twisters having no idea that David was in that either.
Yeah, sneaky.
It's like you'd think that both Twisters and this show would be capitalizing on the fact that, oh yeah, the new Superman's in our thing. You'd think that, so I didn't know he was in that. I'll have to go check it out. All right, what's next?
Oliver says, hi, John and crew. Just saw Deadpool and Wolverine. It was glorious. Can't wait to see it again tonight. Let's effing go. I gotta bleep myself out. You guys are awesome. Keep up the great work.
Well, I don't know how you got in to see it, but whatever it is that got you, maybe you were a guest of somebody. That's great.
Or maybe they're in the industry. I don't know.
Maybe they're in the industry, or maybe they were a guest. I mean, who knows? Look, all I know is that I can't wait to see it. I'm going to see it 2 times on Thursday, and then probably the rest of my weekend is just going to be finding seats in some theaters somewhere to go watch them again and again. And I cannot wait to do my out of theater reaction, and I cannot wait to do our open spoiler. By the way, in case you haven't heard, we will be doing our full open spoiler discussion on Deadpool and Wolverine on Sunday. So Sunday will be our big full open spoiler discussion for Deadpool. Where that gives everybody Thursday, Friday, and the first part of Saturday to go out and make sure you see it yourself.
Do we know the theatrical window for this? What was that stated yet? I could look it up, but I don't know.
It ain't going to be short.
No,
it's not going to be short.
More than that.
They're going to let this run.
I hope 90 days at least.
Look what Disney just did with Inside Out. They gave it like 100-day window, right? I think you're going to see the same thing for Deadpool and Wolverine. Maybe not 100 days, but probably at least 90.
I would hope.
All right, what's next?
All right. Oliver says, hi, John and crew. The movie theater I managed tried to pre-order the Wolverine popcorn bucket back in April, but it was all sold out back then. Hopefully they'll restock at some point, but so far, no luck. You guys are my favorite movie podcast.
Oh, thank you so much for that, Oliver. Now, I know Ray this morning, as we were preparing for the show, Ray was on there looking to order some stuff, and you saw that it is up. It goes, but it doesn't become available till like Friday, right?
As one of the most...
Or Thursday, I mean.
Thorough collectible collector. I'm going to give up.
You're going to give up?
I don't think we're going to get one.
Wow, way to build us up to let us down.
I think we have to be on the website at the right time to actually pick it up. I don't see it being available for a long time.
Well, I'll tell you what. I am seeing the very first screening our theater is doing on Thursday. Like the screening I'm going to on Thursday is the very first one they're doing. So I will make sure to grab. I'm sure they're going to have the buckets for the very first screening.
We only need one.
I know. I'll make sure I get it. Yeah. Well, no, probably need 2 because I think I'm going to want one. And I know you're going to want.
You're going to try to get it there.
No, I just want to see one. Usually me, I just want to see one.
I mean, I just don't know if they're going to allow you to get it pre-ordered or not. So we'll find. I'll definitely keep on the app and double check to see if we can do that. All right. What's next?
Anonymous says, hi from New Zealand, watching DW tonight. Oh, Deadpool and Wolverine tonight, and it's currently the 24th for us right now. John, can you tell me more about your wife working on Descendants, as it's my favorite Disney movie growing up and will always have a place in my heart?
Well, so here's kind of an interesting story. My wife Anne, it's kind of a cool thing. This just goes with modern commentary. So for a while, early in our marriage, Anne was my wife Anne is super smart, but she was the political field rep for, I forget her first name, but Congresswoman Sanchez here in California. Anne was the political field rep for Congresswoman Sanchez. And Congresswoman Sanchez was running for Senate against a new up-and-comer named Kamala Harris. So Anne and her boss were running against Kamala Harris, and Kamala Harris clearly won and beat Anne's boss. And so Anne went and took a job at Hasbro. And her very first property that she was given to manage was The Descendants. Now, she did not work on the TV show or anything like that. Her whole area was managing product. So she was managing the toy line and the product and all that kind of stuff. So that's the stuff she worked in. She didn't make the movies or anything like that. She was on the project side. All right, what's next?
Tyler Fletcher says, hi, John. I'm trying to start TikTok doing things similar to what you do in terms of news, etc. But I find myself struggling sometimes in terms of how to really begin strategies to use. Any advice?
I don't really use TikTok. Yeah. It's funny. I got a job offer from TikTok a while ago. I told the guys about. Anyway, but I don't really use TikTok. I've dabbled in it here and there. But like for me, the type of content I really like isn't the freaking 1 minute shorts. So
Long form is getting bigger now on TikTok, though.
it has, although TikTok may be getting shut down soon. But I mean, and so that's good. But and I've definitely dabbled in shorts sometimes, and maybe I will do more. Like maybe I will, like play around. But see, to me, stuff like TikTok and Instagram Reels and even YouTube Shorts, they're great as promotion for your real content, because real content isn't a minute long. You know, not like don't get me wrong, I love scrolling through my Instagram Reels and seeing so much creative, funny stuff. But for the stuff I do, like movie discussion, that's not 1 minute videos. That's not 30 minutes. So I'm the wrong guy to ask about that, to be honest. And again, I'm not trying to put down the entire thing. Not at all. I'm just saying that's not for me. So I'm not the right guy to give advice for that, because I'm really more into longer form content. But that's just me. All right. What's next?
All right. Adam Devine says, one of my favorite marketing videos I saw on YouTube for Deadpool and Wolverine was a video of Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman cooking chimichangas with Gordon Ramsay.
I was just telling Ray about that before the show started. I said, have you seen the video he did with Gordon Ramsay? And then I heard you were watching. What did Chef Pleasures? What did you think about the Gordon Ramsay chimichanga video they did?
I think his daughter is a cheater, first of all. But that got me motivated to actually look into some chimichanga recipes, because I am definitely going to bring one in my right and one in my left pocket when I go see Deadpool and Wolverine.
Please don't announce that in advance. You're breaking the theater rules and you're just announcing to the world you're going to do it.
But it's going to be on top of all the popcorn I'm going to be buying and eating anyways. Come on.
It's all
if you
good.
don't offer it, come on. Some people, we got to live sometimes.
All right. What's
We're
next?
not hurting nobody.
DJ Infa says, love the intro music, guys. The end is a bit sharp. Needs an echo fade out the end.
Yeah, we're gonna. By the way, that was that intro song was sent to me by one of our fans. Made it.
Yeah.
Actually, and it's a full song. Like, it's a full 2-minute song, and I really love it. I think it's great. But we are going to be working on making a real intro at some point here, so we'll get around to that. All right, what's next?
All right. DJ Infa says, no Infa, 4DX will not affect the box office. 1 week later, Twister's box office estimated doubled after JC has his first viewing in 4DX. Don't ever say John, you're nobody. Numbers don't lie. Even Jonathan bought 4DX ticket.
Yeah, all we were saying before was there's just not enough 4DX screens, right? There's not many of
Most
those.
of the money for
not
Twisters
any at
came
all.
from standard theaters.
Like we live in the movie capital of the world, and there's only like a handful of them around that we can even get to. So.
I take it's probably expensive.
But I gotta tell you, again, my 4D experience was with Twisters. I had a ball in it. I thought it was perfect for a movie like Twisters, but I can see how for not the right movie, it can just be distracting. But for Twisters, it was perfect. Absolutely perfect. Loved it.
Seen it tomorrow on 4DX.
Yeah,
I think you're gonna have a good
can't
time.
wait for you.
All right, what's next?
Sam Fisher says, after watching the new Joker trailer, other big inspiration seems to be Sonny and Cher and Tina and Ike Turner.
Yeah.
That give the people what they want scene felt like something that would happen on the Sonny and Cher show.
Yeah.
I mean, Sonny and Cher is like a little before my time, but I remember it. I've seen some reruns of it. Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of influences that Todd brings into this film, and I am so excited for it. Again, I'm just saying that my apprehension about the trailer is just that I can't tell from the trailer what's actually happening in the movie and what's just happening in Joker's imagination. And I'm more interested in the stuff that Arthur does in real life. So we'll see. But again, we're still 3 months away. We're going to get more trailers, and I'm sure we're going to get more of a concrete idea of that. All right, what's next?
Bleach Blonde Bad Built says, after both Maverick and Twisters, Glenn Powell would be an amazing Hal Jordan. Lee Isaac did Twisters and Minari. He takes us into these lived-in worlds, and he builds them with the dialogue and characters very well. I'd love for him to do a sci-fi space movie.
I think there's a lot of roles Glenn Powell, I think would also be a great Booster Gold. I think he'd be a really good, so there's a lot of them. And also don't forget that little rom-com he did, Anyone But You. That ended up being really charming. And then there's that one he did on Netflix recently.
Hitman.
What's it called?
Hitman.
Right? Which was also, I mean, not as good as some people were making out to be, but I thought it was quite decent. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was good. He is going to be a big major superstar. He's going to be huge because his performance in Twisters was perfect for that movie. Like he played that role perfectly. And could he be a good Green Lantern? Sure he could. All right. What's next?
Guitar Girl says, I know the second series had its critics, but Agent Carter is popular. They are looking for stable properties to work on Disney+. Then why not bring her back? They could delve more into the Howard Stark story and the beginnings of Agent Shields. Thought?
Wasn't popular. Got canceled because people weren't watching it. I loved season 1 of Agent Carter. Loved it. I was a huge proponent for that. Second season, not so good. And the reality is, there's only so much ground you can cover now because, like, imagine this. You're trying to make an Agent Carter show now, but you're completely handcuffed with what you can do creatively because you can't do anything that breaks canon in the MCU. And the histories are already kind of laid out. So the fact that it wasn't viewed by all that many people and the fact that you'd be creatively kind of handcuffed, while I loved the first season, I really don't think it's something they can pursue. All right, what's next?
Chubbs GPT says, hey crew, by the time you're reading this, I would be 9 hours away from watching DP3.
Nice.
July 24th here in the Philippines at 12 noon. I'm going to do my best to leave my expectations at the door. It's just hard when I'm this excited. Thanks for all you do. Bring on the filth.
Woo! Well, salamat and have a great time.
Okay.
I am so I tell you what,
Salamat.
I think, and you know, I said this on the show the other day, and people are like, what? I think I'm not saying it's going to be better than Endgame. All right.
Hey.
Well, I don't think Endgame is a top 5 MCU film, just to be clear. Like, I think Endgame's great. So maybe Deadpool and Wolverine will be better than Endgame, because I thought Infinity War was much better than Endgame. Anyway, but you can't deny how excited we all were for Endgame, right? I actually think I'm more excited for Deadpool than I was for even Endgame. I think I'm more excited for this movie than I was for that. I don't know why. I just am. I think mostly because of Hugh Jackman's return. I just love Hugh Jackman as Wolverine so much. I like Logan to me is a top 3 greatest comic book movie of all time. I think that really just kind of puts it over the edge for me. All right. What's next?
Cam says, hey everyone, if Joaquin Phoenix were to get another Oscar nomination, maybe even win, what type of impact will this have on his career, the Joker character and comic book movie genre?
I assume you mean if he gets another one for this movie. I don't think anybody has ever won
For the same character.
for the same character.
It's nothing new. That's the problem.
I don't think it's ever happened. I mean, it's certainly possible. It can happen. People have been nominated multiple times.
If
for the
he's
same
bringing
thing.
something new to the character that's just so new but novel, but you know, we already saw Joker 1. We know what he's capable of, so it's not like. But if he's the best performance of the year, and
I mean that's it, right? It's not about whether you did something new. It's
Yeah.
about do you bring the best performance? I mean, that's why Peter Dinklage could win the Emmy 3 different times.
Yeah, right.
I mean, he was still playing the same character, but he gave the best performance. I mean, first of all, it would be record setting because again, I don't think anybody's ever won the Oscar for playing the same role. So it'd be a first time ever, and I think it really does. Look, you're in the halls of Valhalla when you're an Academy Award winner in the business, but you win it twice. You are now in rare company. It ain't often that people win it, particularly actors. It ain't often that you win it twice. And for an actor to do that in lead role and to be for the first time ever, it would do a lot to, I mean, look, Joaquin Phoenix's legacy is already pretty secure, but it would really cement it if he did. All right, what's next?
Do you think he likes like eating ice cream and walking dogs and stuff? Because Joaquin Phoenix terrifies me for some reason. Like for some reason, like I would love to meet. He's like such a good actor, but for some reason he terrifies me. I have no idea. Ever since Gladiator,
Yes.
that the beady eye looks at it. I just don't. I hope he's a really nice person, is what I'm saying.
Well, Todd Phillips seems to like working with him, so.
Yeah, I feel like he's probably very nice, but he's scared me ever since Gladiator. I'm like, if I ever have to interview him, I have to just like take it out my head.
That would be intimidating.
All right, what's next?
All right, Tender Whisper says Monday marked 2 weeks in a row of me going to AMC's Seen Unseen, hoping
Screen Unseen.
Unseen.
Yeah, he misspelled it.
Hoping it was Alien Romulus. Alas, it was some weird movie called Kneecap with Michael Fassbender. I'm done with Screen Unseen. I'll just wait for Alien Romulus's general release.
You're not gonna.
Yeah, I'm done with them. I'm done with them. I mean,
in general, you're not.
No, I'm not. I'm never gonna go to another AMC Screen Unseen. Like you at least have to give me a chance that it might be actually a movie I'm really looking forward to, and they've never done it. Like every single fucking time they've done a Screen Unseen, it's end up being a movie that I probably wouldn't be going to see anyway, or at least for the vast majority of people, they wouldn't be going to see anyway. Now, granted, in AMC's defense, you also have to have a willing partner studio offer a movie that you can use for a Screen Unseen. And I get it if Fox and Disney weren't willing to make Alien Romulus that. I also heard some whispers it could have been Crow. I mean, even if it was just the Crow, that's interesting. But the fact that it's constantly, consistently these movies that most of the general public probably wouldn't be going to see anyway, I'm no longer interested in AMC Screen Unseen. To me, the project's dead. The program's dead. I'm never going to pay any attention to it again.
Anyway. I think if the movies were good, then it gives people an opportunity to see an indie film that they wouldn't have otherwise seen.
Yeah.
But from what I'm getting is it's a lot of movies that aren't particularly received well anyway. So then that's not great. But also, dude, you're going way too early. They're only doing these advanced screenings. They're like a week to 10 days in advance. So you were already going too early if you thought it was going to be Alien Romulus.
Yeah.
See, like Jeremy Miller points out in the live chat, it's like, that's kind of the point, to put a spotlight on indie movies. No, it's not. That's not how they advertise
No,
it.
that's...
Because if that's what it is, be fucking honest with your customers. Tell them
Indie
this is
Screen
going to be
Unseen.
call it the indie Screen Unseen.
Yeah.
Don't trick your eye, because the marketing for it is you don't know what it is, but you're going to be an early person, get a first look at this movie coming out. And they create the impression that you might hit the jackpot and it's going to be a movie you're really excited about seeing. If it's going to be nothing but a way to highlight small indie films, and there's nothing wrong with that, but then be honest about it.
Right.
Be open with your customers who are paying money to come see it. Because just be honest, say, hey guys, this is our AMC Select Indie Screen Unseen Spotlight.
Right. Because they do it with, like, they say the Thrills and Chills Screen Unseen.
Yeah, then it's horror.
So
Yeah.
why not let them know it's an indie film?
Just be honest about it. That's all we're asking. Just be honest about it. So because now we know what it is, now I know to avoid it. All right, what's next?
All right. Alex Bartholomew says, and thank you for the $20,
Oh,
Alex.
thank you, Alex. Appreciate that, man.
Sorry for not putting my name yesterday, guys. I was the one writing in about hosting the Twister screenings.
Oh, nice.
The event had me so hyped up, I had probably forgot my pants too.
Yeah.
Also saw the movie again last night, and we'll be seeing it in 40X tomorrow.
Ooh, me too.
Let's go.
I am curious to watch the movie again in a non-40X screen.
No,
but
not for me.
to see how much of my enjoyment of it was due to the 4DX and how much of my enjoyment of it was just for the movie itself.
I think
I had a ball in the 4DX with it. I really did.
He's doing it the right way, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Watched
Yeah.
it on all regular, now he's going to go for the ride.
Yeah.
So.
All right, what's next?
All right. Pisces Breakdancer says, "Hey John, I got one sentence for you. What are you doing when you're not saving the world?
What are you going to do
Yeah.
when you're not saving the world?
Boom.
Sleeping.
Bom, bom. Ba-da-bum, ba-da-bum, ba-da-bum. Yeah, I still, at least once or twice a week, when I get in my shower, I say, I'm sorry for everybody who has a Google device around, but I say, hey, Google, play Hans Zimmer. What are you going to do when you're not saving the world? I'm not going to say it is as iconic as John Williams' Superman theme, but it's right up there close with it to me. I mean, I'll be in the shower and I'll play that, and it just gets my blood rushing, and Oh my God, I love that theme so much. It's so good. All right, what's next?
Garden Variety Vagabond says, I love Ryan Reynolds' statement on Deadpool and Wolverine. This movie is a love letter to friendship.
Well, he's made a lot of statements about it, but from what I hear, I mean, remember Kevin Feige said that a lot too in his statement last week about how this is really an ode to friendship and to those bonds and stuff like that. And seeing people's reactions coming out of it really seems to reinforce that.
Yeah, so everybody who hasn't talked to a friend in like 10, 20 years, call them up. Go see this movie together.
You can't even say it with it serious.
I'm sorry.
All right, what's next?
All right, I am Groot Bear says thank you.
Oh, and by the way, sends in a $20 super chat. Thank you, man, for supporting us.
Hi, John. How do you feel about the current episode of House of Dragon, episode 6, being review bombed on IMDb, receiving a series low 6.7 out of 10? Many people are outraged at the Rhaenyra
outraged.
the lesbianist kiss scene, but was okay with the incest sex scenes all series.
They're fucking losers.
Yeah.
Listen
They don't
to
even
me.
watch the
Listen to me.
show.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, if you're somebody that would be bothered by that, don't watch my show, please. Like, please unsubscribe from my channel. I'm getting ready to retire anyway, so it doesn't matter to me. Unsubscribe to my channel. Don't ever come because you're a fucking loser. This is why, I mean, it doesn't matter to me because this is why I say you should never pay attention to IMDb scores because people just make these coordinated efforts to go and try to affect it, and it doesn't mean anything. If you are somebody that really that strawberry up your asshole gets all squished up because, oh no, there are two girls kissing, you're a fucking loser. And I don't really care about them. All right, what's next?
Strawberry up the asshole. Wow. Okay.
That's what they like to do. These are strange people, Paris. These are strange people.
I'm using that from now on. Okay, Albert Juan Canobert says, in Winter Soldier, there's a reference to watching Star Wars. Yet in Brave New World, Harrison Ford is actually Thunderbolt Ross. That must mean on Earth 616, someone else played Han Solo. Who do you think it was? Burt Reynolds, O.J. Simpson, Danny DeVito?
Oh, it's definitely Burt Reynolds.
Yeah, going to go to the Death Star.
It's the Millennium Falcon, eh?
It's funny. By the way, if none of you guys have ever seen, if there are any of you guys who've never seen Celebrity Jeopardy on SNL and Norm Macdonald doing Burt Reynolds on Celebrity Jeopardy on Saturday Night Live as Turd Ferguson. Yeah, Turd Ferguson. It's funny. It is one of the greatest things you will ever see. Norm Macdonald doing Burt Reynolds on Celebrity Jeopardy is one of the funniest things you will ever see. Yeah, this is one of those classic moments where we as nerds are maybe putting a little bit too much thought into it. Don't worry about it. It's okay. All right, what's next?
Logan Vaughn says, when Deadpool learns about Earth 616 and the sacred timeline, I really hope he decides to visit Earth 69 out of filthy curiosity.
I don't even know if they'll go into that. Like, I don't like Wolverine is just kind of look, I'm going to try to save somebody, but I don't know if they'll go too much into the convolutedness of the multiverse. Like, I think there's going to be clearly a lot of multiversal elements. Will they really dive into that? I'm not sure. So, but we'll see how it goes. I'm ready for anything at this point. All right, what's next?
Logan Vaughn says, just watched Hitman and I thought it was pretty solid. Best part was on the chemistry between Glenn Powell and Adria Arjuna. I fell in love with her, so I looked her up. I had no clue she's in Bix and Andor. She seems next level to me. Put her in everything.
She was okay. She was a really pleasant surprise to me. And I also didn't know that, remember that she was the one in Andor. And then somebody pointed it out to me.
She was in Bloodshot too, I believe.
She was in, that movie is so forgettable. I can't remember a damn thing about it.
Well,
Bloodshot was so bad.
That's what I'm here for.
But she was in that? I can't even remember a single line in it. I just remember Vin Diesel's guy in the chair was from something else that I would watch. But at any rate, yeah, she was really quite good, and she was a bit of a revelation in that one too. I thought she was really quite good. All right.
Oh no! I'm sorry. Forgive me. It was Isa Gonzalez. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
They're saying, people in live chat are saying she was in Morbius.
Morbius.
That makes more sense.
Okay.
All right. Because that one was classic. That one was all-time great, not like Bloodshot.
I know.
All right, what's next?
Thomas BDL says, "Hi team, I've really enjoyed this season of House of the Dragon, but I find Damon's fever dreams extremely repetitive and annoying. Dude, your queen needs you. If Harrenhal has bed bugs, just book an Airbnb in the Riverlands and get back to burning fools already."
Okay, but that's exactly what he was going to do. Remember? He packed up his bag. He was getting ready to leave, said, "I've had enough of this." And then whatever, the barn owl says to him, "Wait, how many days did you say? 2 days?" So just
Yeah.
wait 3 days. And then news came that the one guy died. That's exactly what he needed to have happen. I'm getting a little over the fever dreams too. I hope there's a big payoff for
They
it.
are revealing more about his character, though.
Yes, we're getting more and more about him. Like he's also learning about himself.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's revealing
Through these fever dreams. He's learning that, oh, she was right. I do have deep-seated resentment against Rhaenyra. Like I would have said, no, I don't, but I really do. I do have these feelings about my brother. I do feel guilty about what I did. He's learning all these things about himself, and there is benefit to that. I feel like the pacing of it can be better. So let's see where it's all ultimately leading to, though. All right, what's next?
Cam says, "John, I love you and I agree with most things, ... but you not considering Michael Giacchino not a candidate for Mount Rushmore as a composer is heartbreaking.
No chance. No
Not
chance he's
saying
anywhere
he's
near
number
it.
1 or 2, but there's an argument for that 4th spot on Mount Rushmore.
No, there is not. Not unless you
Who does he
think
knock
No,
out?
there is
not unless you think music composition in movies only started 12 years ago.
Yeah, how does he get knocked out?
Yeah, if you think music composition in movies only started 12 years ago, fine. But when you go through the history of the great composers of it, there is not a play. Listen, I'm not saying that Michael Giacchino isn't great, and I'm not saying he doesn't have an extremely bright future ahead of him still, and that at some point he's not capable of becoming one of the greats. But as of right now, no chance in hell he's anywhere near the Mount Rushmore. And that's not shade on him either. It's just that right now he's not near that spot. All right, what's next?
All right. Lucas Skywalker says, "What up, crew? I noticed this quote from the new Joker trailer with closed captioning. They believe Arthur Fleck to be some kind of martyr. Well, he's not. He's a monster. Harvey Dent. Man, hell yeah, Two-Face has entered the universe."
Oh yeah, that was actually when I saw that they had dropped the new Joker trailer. The headline on the news article that I found it out from said, "Harvey Dent introduced in whatever." So yeah, we're gonna get our first look at that universe's Harvey Dent, which is pretty cool.
I just don't know that this is a window to a larger Joker universe. I really felt like since they only wanted to do one before, they do two. There's no Batman yet because he's too young. I just kind of feel like this is an open and shut kind of universe.
Well, I mean, it is an open and shut, but that doesn't mean those characters aren't there, right?
Sure.
So because we already saw there is a young Bruce there.
Yeah.
Therefore, it stands to reason that Thomas Wayne is there. Therefore, it stands to reason that maybe a young Harvey Dent, new up and coming prosecutor is out there. So I don't know that it opens the door to a larger like Joker cinematic universe or anything, but just that they're there makes kind of sense. It's just like Harley's there.
Sure.
All right, what's next?
Renetta says, "John and crew, episode 6 of House of the Dragon was magical. I was laughing my ass off. First with Aemon calling Laris a toad, and then Sea Smoke, who's a beauty by the way, trolling Adam
To be his writer.
Yeah, to be his writer. Loved every second. 2 episodes left. I know it's almost done.
Yeah, that whole conversation with Lara Strong. By the way, see, one of the things I love about all the Game of Thrones shows is that very rarely do we get a Joffrey or a Ramsay that are just pure one thing. Very rarely do we also get a Ned Stark who's pure nobility, who's purely noble. All characters in these universes have multiple shades to them, right? Because like Laris, that foot-loving, like perverted, twisted creep, he sits with Aegon and like has a real legitimate heart-to-heart. Like, okay, you're going to be deformed and people are going to laugh at you and people are going to dismiss you and people aren't going to take you seriously. Just like me. But that is going to be your advantage, and that's going to be your strength. And there was empathy, and there was like, so I actually love that about this universe, that they show like the real bad guys. Sometimes they have redeeming qualities. The real good guys, sometimes they can make moral mistakes, and I love that about this show. I think,
and there's a through line there too, because Tyrion had the same struggle. He wasn't a villain, but people like dismissed him because
so that's a common theme.
But besides that, I think John likes rats now.
Oh,
You're a rat fan.
I am not a fan of the Greens. I am not Team Green by any stretch.
You know, I haven't seen the latest episode, but Sea Smoke, is this a dragon?
Yeah.
That sounds like a dope dragon.
He's the cool looking dragon.
I gotta watch it.
He's a cool looking dragon. All right. He was the sea snake's son's dragon before he faked his death and took off, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so.
All right. Laenor. That was the character's name. Yeah, I think he was Laenor's dragon. All right. What's next?
Bobby says, "Hey John, regarding the Joker 2 trailer, I have to disagree. My favorite director is David Lynch, and what makes his movies so great is the uncertainty of what is real and what isn't. I feel as though the director doesn't have to make it clear what's real."
I think they will in the movie though.
Depending on the nature of the story being told, right? That can be an effective tool depending on the nature of the story being told. There are definitely places where that can be effective and is appropriate, but there are definitely types of stories that it is not effective and is not appropriate. Like for me, it's very difficult to get excited about, oh my God, seeing Joker go full Joker by taking a mallet and hammering a judge in the head, but that actually doesn't mean anything if it's just in his imagination. Then it doesn't actually have any impact. So there are times in certain stories, perfect. And in others, not so much. And that's why I don't get excited about it. For me personally. But let's see how it all... Listen, I love the first movie. I got all the faith in the world in this movie. So I'll give it the benefit of the doubt till we see it.
I also can't imagine that they're going to follow up a $1 billion R-rated film with a Mulholland Drive knockoff. So...
Well, they are making a musical.
I know.
We'll see. All right, what's next? By the way, how good is Mulholland Drive?
It's great, but I mean, people aren't looking for that. And they in Joker.
All right, what's next?
Stoked for DP3 says, "I totally support seeing movies alone. First time seeing a movie alone was days after a college breakup. And the movie was Her with oh gosh, heavy.
And Scarlett Johansson.
That was honestly kind of awkward though. Wouldn't recommend for some films."
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I have no problem going to see a movie by myself. Like I used, especially when I lived close enough to the AMC Burbank 16 that I could just like literally walk out my door and in 10 minutes be at the second busiest movie theater in North America. But even me would say there are probably some movies and some circumstances I'd be uncomfortable going to a movie by myself. That might have been one of them. Thanks for sharing the story though. I appreciate that, man. All right, what's next?
Nerdy Superman says, "Hi John, hope you and the team are doing well. This isn't a question, but just a courtesy reminder for everyone going to see D&W. Please be patient with the theater workers and please pick up the big trash. As a theater worker, we really appreciate any help."
Listen, there used to be an old saying that you can tell the quality of your date by how they treat your waiter or waitress. Mm-hmm. I 1,000% agree with that philosophy. Yeah. Like, if you can't be decent enough. And guess what? These people are working for all you know, they've been on their feet 8 hours already, working a long shift. There's everything going on in the kitchen. Maybe the wrong thing gets handed to them. Just chill the fuck out and just relax. And when we go to the movie theaters, especially when it's going to be crazy, like this weekend is going to be crazy. These kids are making minimum wage. They're trying their best. They're working their hardest. They're going to get flooded with more people than they've probably seen in a movie theater in a while. And there's going to be delays. Some of your orders might be wrong. Maybe something else goes wrong here and there. Understand, if you're a moviegoer, that this shit happens. Don't take it out on these people who are working in the movie theaters, just doing their best, trying to give you the best movie-going experience that they can. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be hard. Be decent to these people who are just trying to facilitate a good time for you. And if things go wrong, understand things go wrong, and it's probably not that kid's fault. So please be nice to these people because they're doing their best. All right, what's next?
Zach Kaplan says, pro tip, my local AMC Burbank 16 suggested I show up Thursday when they first open at noon. Will likely sell out of buckets in the first 3 to 4 hours.
That's my local too.
That was my local. That's where we had our AMC studio. Was
Yeah.
right in there. Was in that theater. That probably sounds like. And I will see if I can order it on the app in advance. But if not, I'll make sure I'm at the one I'm going to is the out here in Riverside.
Tyler.
Going to the Tyler Galleria. Going to the AMC Tyler Galleria. Beautiful theater. And hopefully they'll see if I can get them to slip them a 10. See if they can set one aside for me.
Excuse
Big,
me.
big spender here.
Excuse
Here's
me.
a 10 for you, kid. Set a Wolverine bucket aside for me, will you?
That'll work.
All right, what's next?
All right, on to our members.
All right, Luisa Velez says, I will be taking the advice of staying away from anything on YouTube and social media for the sake of spoilers of Deadpool and Wolverine. Thank you guys for the advice. Wish me luck. Hopefully I can make it through Sunday night.
Do a lot of streaming.
Oh wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be tough. I honestly think that Friday's show, I think we may have to do pre-recorded. I think we may not do Friday's show live. Just to try to, because even earlier in today's stream, there was some dickless little asshole who's, will never touch a nipple in his life in the live chat that was trying to drop spoilers in there. Unfortunately, we caught them and banned them quickly. But there are going to be those pathetic cretin people out there.
We might have to do that Thursday.
That
too.
are gonna try to do that. So we're gonna have to. But yes, guys, be on your guard. But here's the good news, though. The good news is that from what we're hearing, there are so many surprises.
Big surprise.
And the big surprises. Here it comes. Time for Ray to bring that one out again. That there are so many surprises in this movie. That the good news for you and me is that if you happen to come across a comment or something that's got something in it, the good news is you probably just caught 1% of the surprises. So no to block those people and get them out of your thing. But yeah, man, it's I'm not going to deny you can do everything that you can do. Heaven help you if you don't have your first screenings till like Sunday, because it's going to be harrowing to try to avoid anything.
Treading in thin ice. Man.
Yes.
That's me, and I work in the industry, so I am really trying to dodge a lot of bullets here.
Yeah. All right. What's next?
All right, I'm still stuck on the will never touch a nipple in their life, but okay. All right, CJ Rebirth said, had a great time watching Twisters this past weekend. The opening tornado scene alone had my jaw drop. Loved Ramos, Daisy Jones, and Glenn Powell. Surprised to see the one Mandalorian season 3 actress in here who's also in Love Lies, bleeding with Kristen Stewart.
Yeah.
Yep.
Love Lies. By the way, Lives Bleeding was way better than I thought it would be. I really enjoyed that one. But it was Ray, because we're seeing her in the movie. We're all like, who is that? Who is that? And then I think it was Ray who remembered. Oh, she was the one in the Mandalorian, or not. Yeah,
The
she was the one in
Mandalorian.
Mandalorian.
She's security. The security officer.
She's the one in Mandalorian. It's like, oh my God, you're right. That was her, because she's got a very memorable look, right?
Right.
And so it was Ray that pointed out. As soon as he did, it was like, that's who it was.
the
Yeah,
crew
really.
was full of Easter eggs.
They were all really good in it.
Corn Sweat too.
All right, what's next?
All right, Logan Vaughn says, I want to spotlight a small moment in Twisters where David Cornsweat's character screamed, I don't care about the people, into Javi's face. I got chills thinking about this guy playing our new Superman. Talk about screen presence.
I'll tell you what, I mentioned this the other day. This dude has massive screen presence. Even when he wasn't speaking, it's like you can kind of feel it. And then when he would speak, he's got so much power in his voice. I'm not talking about volume. I'm talking about there's a power in his voice. And
Almost Kryptonian.
Almost Kryptonian. And I was like, yeah, this, don't get me wrong. I'll always be a Henry Cavill guy. But I was thinking, like, this is a worthy heir apparent to Henry. This guy is Superman, and
Got the height.
He's definitely got the height. I mean, but he's got the presence too. I thought it was really good. All right, what's next?
All right. Unofficial Oscar Herrera says, new Joker 2 trailer was amazing. Love the reveal of Harvey Dent being the possible prosecutor of the case against Joker. Perhaps see the origin of Two-Face?
No, that'll never happen here. Remember, that's not supposed to happen to Harvey Dent till long after. He's supposed to become a friend of Batman's first, have a long relationship with Batman. Then the thing happens. So, that's not going to happen here. I mean, look, they could do anything they want because it is in Elseworlds, but I really doubt that this is not a Joker and Harley and Two-Face movie. So I don't really think Todd Phillips at all is going to go into that, to be honest with you. I think it's going to be cool to see the character, but I don't think we're going to see Two-Face. All right, what's next?
All right. Vic Dude says, hey, John and crew. Looks like the Wolverine popcorn bucket will be available starting July 25th at AMC. Seems like it's going to be difficult to get one. Hope I can snatch one.
I got a crisp $10 bill that says I'm going to have no problem.
No problem.
No problem. Get in my popcorn bucket.
Getting a regular bucket.
All right, what's next?
Token Brick says, filming for Wednesday season 2 is ramping up in Ireland. What are you hoping to see once it finally hits Netflix? Hopefully next year.
I'm not even sure I'm going to watch it, to be honest with you. No, I know. Listen, I'm not trash talking. I know a lot of people like it. I'm not its target demographic. You know, and listen, I thought she was really good in it. I thought it was a very interesting take on it. I'd be lying to you, though, if I said I was exciting for it. So I'm not really giving it any thought. Not that nobody else should be giving it any thought and nobody else shouldn't be excited. I'm just saying I've always got to be honest with you. I'm not particularly counting down the days till I get to watch the new one.
I want Wednesday to go darker. Like, less PG, PG-13, more rated R Wednesday. That's what I want.
There we go. All right, what's next?
Jeremy 32 Miller says, so yesterday Nobody 2 announced Sharon Stone as the villain, which could be great. I liked her in Basic Instinct and really loved Nobody.
I didn't hear that news about Sharon Stone, to be honest with you.
Villain of what?
Of Nobody 2.
Oh.
But I am with you. I loved Nobody. I thought Nobody was great. I mean, not as good as John Wick, but I thought I was so pleasantly surprised by the movie. Here's the cool thing about Nobody as well, is that when it first came out, it was just when the theaters were starting to open back up again. And it was so fun to be in the movie theaters. And that was a really fun movie to watch in that circumstance. I can't wait for them to do a second one. All right. Last two questions of the day. What's next?
Slarf says, hey all, double checked my Deadpool ticket Thursday and I have the best seat in the house in Dolby. So damn excited. Do you have a particular spot you go for when picking a seat in a movie theater?
Okay, so in the Dolby AMC Prime, there's not a bad seat in the house. I mean, honestly, I could sit anywhere. I will tend to try to aim for center, a little bit near the back. Right? Not at the back, but even if you're at the back, you're good. So center, a little bit near the back, generally in that area. But really, any seat is great.
Dolby, yeah, I do row J, which is that divider section, so you have all that room,
right? That
huge space between the rows.
But I find even in most of the rows, you got plenty of leg room.
I know, but this is just even better.
But in a normal theater, and like an AMC, so you'll get your front row of seats, right? Then you've got a big walkway, and then the start of the section that goes up like this. I like the front row in that section in front of the wheelchair, or right behind the wheelchair section, because they've got the bars, and nobody's ever in the wheelchair section, so at least very, very rarely. So I get to sit in that seat and put my feet stretched out fully on the bars, and it's that's my seat to go to there. But normally I'll try to get into the AMC Prime or into one of the IMAXs. All right, what's next?
Joel Ketchy says, I know you don't do press screenings anymore, but if you had been invited to the Deadpool and Wolverine premiere, and if it was in LA, would you have gone? I said
this before. The only way I would have gone. So for those of you who don't know, like about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I made the decision. I took myself off. I still get all the invites, at least most of them, but I informed all my press contacts, take me off the press lists. I'm not going to go to any more screenings. I don't do any more interviews. So I'm not going to do any of that stuff anymore. But I did say a few months ago, a viewer wrote in and challenged me and said, but John, you're super excited about Deadpool and Wolverine. What would it take for you to go to an advanced screening of that? And I said, if Ryan Reynolds himself invited Ann and I to fly out to New York and go see the premiere, then obviously then I would say yes. But that is the only circumstance I would have done it. I don't go to these advanced things anymore, mostly because I realized they didn't benefit me at all. I got no benefit out of going to the press screenings and stuff like
Seeing
that.
it before everyone else, that's not enough for you.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
like I was like anybody else, right? Like when I first got started in this business, I was like anybody else. The idea that I got to see the movie 3 days before anybody else. Ooh, and I thought that was so cool. And ooh, I get to go and do a 2-minute interview with Robert Downey Jr. Like whatever. I used to think that was cool. I get to stand on the red carpet for 3 hours to get a 5-second soundbite. Like I used to think that was cool. And I get it. There are other people out there who think that sounds cool.
It's fun to experience, though.
It's fun to have the experience of it once or twice.
Yeah.
But when I was still at AMC, I realized I'm getting nothing out of this. This is boring. So I started pawning off going to do the interviews to the other
You
staff.
sent me and Dennis to all.
I would send, I know, hey, it was your job.
Yeah.
It was your
no,
job.
I'm not complaining.
But I
But you
stopped
sent
going.
me
I'm
and
like,
Dennis.
Jonathan and Dennis, you go.
And then you
cover
know
this
what
stuff.
happened? Dennis started being like, "You got this, right?"
Yeah.
Just sent me.
Yeah.
Wait,
once-
press junkets or red carpets?
Red
Or both?
carpets.
Oh yeah, red carpets.
Yeah,
are
because
the
once
worst.
like we started adding more and more staff, and Dennis kind of became like our director of operations. And then
Yeah.
Dennis started pawning off it himself because even he started getting tired
Just
of
send
it.
me and Ashley out.
And I was just, and then I stopped going to the press screenings and I stopped going to the thing. And I was just like, there's no point in it. It's kind of, I get that it sounds like it's cool. And then I would always get these brain dead idiots who write into me, oh, John, you like whenever, despite the fact that I hate a ton of movies, they, oh, you only say you like that movie because you want access. I literally reject all the access I get. Access is nothing. People think having access is like, ooh, that's important. It's not. It's not. That's why, like, when people say, oh, all these other critics, they're just saying they like something because they need to have the access. Number one, studios don't give a shit if you don't like their movie. They really don't. They don't care if you hate their movie. They just want you to give it coverage. Number two, all these press people, they know access doesn't mean anything. Access doesn't actually get you anything that's of any value. That's why I gave it up when I was still at AMC. And then just a couple of years ago, made it official. I say, I officially don't go to anything now. I don't go to anything now. But yes, to answer your question, if Ryan Reynolds had personally invited, which he did not, and in no universe would he have, but if Ryan Reynolds had personally invited me and Indigo out to the premiere in New York, that I would have done. But otherwise, no, not at all. All right, guys, and that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show podcast. Thank you so much for being here, making this little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all of you guys who sent in those tips and questions. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. I want to thank the people in the room with me, Ray Ora,
See you guys later.
Jonathan Voico,
See you guys.
Paris Rose.
Toodles.
My name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, strawberry.